What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some of Idle Champion's coolest campaigns and characters. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/CNE Games or later on your favorite podcast service, Dave Walters and Erin M talk about all the Idle Champions lore that's fun to know about. If you're with us live in the chat, you can leave a question that I, Treavor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But until then, Erin, Dave, take it away.
Hi, I'm Erin M. Evans. I'm a content designer for Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, and I'm also the author of the Brimstone Angels saga, 6-book series set in the Forgotten Realms, featuring 3 of your favorite Idle Champions, Frida, Mehen, and Havilar.
I love Idle Champions. I don't know why. I love the flow of that. It's so good.
Yeah, that is.
I'm done now.
Grammatically accurate. That's how English works. You know, it's like before. Was is a grammatically correct statement.
I followed it.
Well,
yeah,
that messed with me already. Yeah.
It's easier when someone says it. It's worse when you read it, but it is a grammatically accurate statement. Dave Walters, I do that. Yeah, that all over the interwebs at Dave Walters, where refined streaming content can be located. Also, double huzzah for Erin.
Huzzah!
For what?
You're a content designer.
You're content designer.
Oh, for that.
Yeah. I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if we talked about that on here. We've talked about it.
We did.
Did we talk about it on here?
I told people.
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
I don't.
Now you have to read. Yeah. Now you have to read the cinematics because I'm putting a lot of work into them, audience.
Yeah. All of you out there, better be reading all those and put a lot of hard work into them. Don't be skipping over them.
Or we'll find you.
We'll find you.
Mm-hmm. I had a friend who Metal Gear Solid, which, you know, a very story-driven game, would skip every single cutscene, every single line of dialogue, next, and then get mad when he didn't know what to do. And it's like, this game is stupid. And I'm like, there literally was a mission briefing where he's like, hey, go into this hangar, steal this plane. And you skipped it. And then we're like,
how do you skip a Metal Gear Solid cut? Sorry, that hurt my soul.
Yep.
But we're not here to talk about Metal Gear Solid, though I could probably fill an entire episode with that. We're here to talk about the Underdark and some of the people you can find there. And we've talked about a few of them.
These are the people in the Underdark. The people that you meet sliding underneath your street.
This would be the weirdest episode to choose to do our first musical episode.
Give me time to prepare to rhyme. So
we
I'm just gonna go in the back and go doot 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 on the background. That's it.
We
I'm
have
much like the fluorescent fungus in the Underdark.
Yeah,
I'm
just doing interpretive dances in the background.
Yeah, the background element that adds a certain je ne sais quoi that really binds the space.
It is known canonically that your freestyle skills are not where you spent your XP. It is true. Yeah.
But yeah, we've talked about a few of the things that you can find in the Underdark. We talked about mind flayers. There's a lot of them down there. Sorry, B-Dave does it better than me.
Voice, aren't you?
Oh, it cut him out. Zoom said no.
Got gated? I got Zoom gated?
Don't worry, the podcast listeners got all of that. Every single part of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just looked like you were licking your microphone suggestively for a second. And I was like, this is a different kind of mind flayer that I'm familiar with.
It's, I wasn't, but it's right before they crunch into the skull. There's probably there's a little something in there. There's a little proboscis in there, probably.
I mean, you really have to experience your food.
It's only the French mind flayers.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just sparkling gray matter.
But there's a new update coming to Idle Champions today, which you can find out more about after this episode, that deals with some things. The Underdark mind flayers are not among them, but one of our good old friends is the Duergar, the Duergar, whoever you want to call them, those lovely dwarf people.
False. There are no lovely dwarf people.
I actually tried to make the code for this episode Duergar or Duergar. Didn't fit.
They're Donagar.
Yeah, Donagar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Duergar.
Yeah.
Really? I don't like it. Okay. Duergar, but you pronounce things the way people tell you they're pronounced.
If there's
Wait,
one
somebody
thing,
told you it's Duergar?
That's what the wiki says. Duergar.
I swear this is this is the third time this conversation.
All right,
It's not gonna be.
Is
Hold
the
on,
audience
wait,
trolling us
hang on.
and
D&D,
changing it?
wait. D&D, they could be. D&D Beyond has the speak out loud. You know what I mean? We're gonna like tell you. So here we go. We're gonna hear for all time. Duergar.
Yeah,
Duergar.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that's what they say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just as a starter primer for people who are coming in cold, the Underdark is an area of the world deep below the ground. It's not just like caves. It's not just like, oh, I dug a hole in my backyard and I hit the Underdark. Like, it's down deep.
Although that's an inciting incident of an adventure, though. I dug a well and hit the Underdark.
I feel like if you do that, you have to hit like you're hitting like a sinkhole that is part of like an air shaft that plunges you down miles and miles.
Isn't the near dark actually a part, like specifically a place of a part of the Underdark is called the near dark?
There is like the Underdark there are different parts of the Underdark. And that includes the Upper Dark. I don't know if it also includes the Near Dark, but the Upper Dark is the uppermost region of the Underdark. This is one I actually want to double check because I'm having trouble remembering the names of different parts, but I believe there's a Middle Dark.
Yeah, so the ones that they have on the wiki is the world above, Upper Dark, Middle Dark, Lower Dark, which by the way is the way that I want to describe my depression from now on. How you doing today? I'm an Upper Dark. I'm an Upper Dark.
Right, and it's filled with spiders. Yes. I like the standard.
There's also like Underdark that exists in other planes. So like the Shadowfell has an Underdark.
Really?
But I thought the Shadowfell is the Feywild's Underdark. Yeah.
Okay. Caveat: stuff changes. Right. Yeah. We discover new things about the way planes are connected, and so maybe. But my impression the last time that I was needing to do research on this sorts of thing was that the Shadowdark was the Underdark's.
No, I'm not saying that it doesn't have an Underdark. It's just like the underish dark because the Shadowfell is already the Feywild's Underdark.
There we go. We got the Feywild, you've got the Shadowfell, and then they've got the Shadowdark. And I feel like there are other ones in other planes, but that might be a good place to start. So it's down deep. It has whole different ecosystems. It has sort of become something where it doesn't, my book Ashes of the Tyrant takes place partially in the Underdark, in the Upper Dark to be specific. And what I was told then is that they wanted to really emphasize the fact that this is not a place for you. This was not made for surface dwellers. It's got a little bit of Alice in Wonderland weirdness, but in a very creepy sense. And so all these people that we're talking about have evolved their biology, their cultures, their everything to live in these caves that are below even the caves.
They got their caves.
Yeah. It's also freaking gigantic. Like a lot of times people think it's just underwater deep when you go down under the Yawning Portal, because in Waterdeep, the big city of D&D, for people who really are joining us for the first time, hi, welcome, friends.
Hello.
There's the main there's a number of cities, but like Waterdeep is the New York City of D&D. There's a very famous bar called the Yawning Portal. In the Yawning Portal, you can literally go down like a big old well thing and kind of access the upper edges of, you can eventually get to the Underdark that way. You'll go through some other stuff first and, probably get killed. But you can keep heading south. But what I was shocked to realize, because I also had the Underdark featured very prominently in A Dark and Witch season 2, it runs all up and down the Sword Coast and possibly further.
Yep.
And by volume is actually way more livable space because they're caves. So, up the walls, on the ceiling, inner mark. Oh, sorry about that. Like pockmarked all along the way. There's stuffs.
The domains of the Underdark are scattered throughout Faerun. There's stuff in the Heartlands. There's I know the old Shanatar is kind of close to where Westgate is, because we may have gotten a little close to that one.
Well, that actually is what I was gonna ask. Like, does it go under the ocean and stuff? Like
the
well, the Sunless Sea is down there. It's got its own ocean.
And,
So.
and the Glimmer Sea is down there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which is, it is actually, it is under the Sea of Fallen Stars. There's another ocean.
That's so cool.
I don't know how that works. I'm assuming a wizard
I heard you like oceans, so we put an ocean under your ocean.
Yeah, I wonder if
sandwich.
I wonder if Umberly I wonder if like Lolth, like Mean Girls Umberly down there, you know what I mean? Just like on her evil barge on the darkest of oceans, you know, like
I want to believe this is like Umberly's like secret getaway. This is like her apartment in the other city that she goes to, and then she just goes out. She goes exactly. She goes out drinking with Lolth, and they just talk about how everybody's the worst. And then she goes back up. And she's like, "Ugh, Lolth is the worst."
Summer's down there. A quote about the Underdark is the absence of light results in darkness. So what results from the absence of good? The Underdark is a place of very little of either. It's a quote from Mordenkainen.
It's not for you.
In general, no. Yeah, of course, the Drow are down there. Shout out to our homies. You know, the Zwerf Nablin deep gnomes. Although for today's update, we're talking Duergar. I'm just, you know what this is.
Yeah.
There's a few words that we never say the same twice, and we
Swaggin. Excuse me.
Yeah, you sounded like one of them.
Yeah.
No, I think that was the first time any of us have said it properly. You had to like cough up a little something there. But the Duergar are psychic dwarves, which, if you think about it, you're like, that didn't make any sense. And it's like, it does if you're in a place that you don't want to make any noise, because something will come down from the ceiling and eat you.
Yeah. They are also bald. They don't grow beards usually. They can, I guess, because I have seen art with them, but
yes, beards, no hair in their heads. Yeah. But wouldn't they just look like yogurt covered raisins, though?
I mean, not sure. Duergar. Or maybe that's what's nice. What's good looking to a Duergar. They're like, you look like a yogurt covered raisin over there.
Mind blast. I'm with the mind flayers on this one. Like, cool. Mind blast. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the factions that you mentioned there in passing, B. Dave, the Swerf. How do you say it? Swerf Nablin? How do
I say deep gnomes? You say deep gnomes.
They are deep nablins. I say Swerf Nablin because I just like saying it. You got to listen to Lauren try and say Swerf Nablin. It'll make your whole day.
I will ask about that in the next meeting I'm in with her. They are featuring in this update, and I don't think we've actually talked about deep gnomes before. What's their deal? What's going on with them? What makes them different from other gnomes?
What's interesting is I'm looking at the 5e art of them, and they look almost more like goblins, which is similar, almost like a goblin made out of stone, which is funny because in my mind, in my head canon, I always just thought of them as really pale to ghostly white gnomes. I didn't think of them as being like rock-like, even though I've heard them referred to as rock gnomes. I'm like, but all gnomes like live in the rocks, whatever. Yeah, so that is an interesting thing. Yeah,
rock gnomes makes me think of Fraggle Rock.
I mean, welcome back, Uncle Matt. Yeah, legally distinct. But if you know, you know, kids, that earworm is my gift to you. Yeah, that normally, you know, gnomes are optimistic and cheerful, like they're happy little people. Sverfnablin are serious and suspicious. I mean, they survived in the Underdark by maintaining their wariness of others and working hard to keep their underground society a secret. Which, not gonna lie, valid. Yeah. When you're
comes from that.
Yeah, when you're 2 feet tall and you're living in the Underdark, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. So
yeah. Well, one of my questions was, so like the Duergar, whatever we're gonna call them, they were down there because of the mind flayers, like that's their origin story stuff. Are the deep gnomes just another type of gnome that's like, I like it down here, or was there a reason that they originally went down there?
So this may be a little like because in the real world, enough people pick up a thing and put their stamp on it, and sometimes you get mixed up stuff. But the stuff I've seen says they don't really keep written records. Like, they don't have a good history of why did we come down here, or have we always been here? Because that is not something that they find culturally important. So good question.
Yeah.
But they have a city called Blingdenstone, which is in the
Excuse
Underdark.
you?
Come on, Blingdenstone? That's like the least weird word I've said today.
True.
So you're telling me the Snurf Nablin come from the Blingden Stone?
Yep.
Is this IKEA furniture?
That does sound like the next Harry Potter book, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they have no concept of day or night. They don't keep track of time. But it's weird. They're not, you would think they'd be just like this hippie stoner society, and they're not. They like work all the time and are diligent. They just sort of do things.
To like live in the moment.
Yeah.
Like as much as possible.
They're like goth Zen people.
Goth Zen people. What a sentence.
Mhm.
What a sentence.
That are 3 to 3'6". Yeah.
Yeah. They live for 250 years. I forget that gnomes live for freaking ever.
Yeah, but they don't even know it, apparently. Like, I mean, can you imagine? You're just going through the motions and one day just cash out. And you're like, he was so young.
Yeah, you know, I find interesting, and I don't think this is canonical, but there's a part in the Neverending Story where Bastion encounters these people who this is in the book, not the movie, but he encounters these people, and they have no concept of individual, and they have no real concept of time.
Oh yeah.
Like, they're sailing across this misty river. It takes all of them singing to sail, and then this bird comes down and snatches someone, and everybody's like, yep. And Bastion's like, what about that guy? And they're like, what are you talking about? We're all here. We are always all here. Like, they just they don't register it.
Yeah.
Right? So if someone dies, they're like, this is what it is. This moment is what it is. So I would love if Deep Gnomes like did not have a past tense. They just always in
that's
present.
fascinating.
That
Yeah.
would be, if I had Deep Gnomes on my table, if I had that like pit players come in contact with Deep Gnomes, I would be very tempted to just be like, yep, this is some weirdness you're gonna have to deal with. What do they mean when they say there is a monster?
Yeah, how wild would it be to be a deep gnome that comes up to the surface for the first time and like not only like it's like, man, it is bright out here, but then all of a sudden, why is it no longer bright out here?
Yeah. Why is it
pranking
bright
me?
out here again? What is yeah, right.
Me?
Yeah. It was cold and then not cold. Yeah. Yep. I agree.
That's really you're giving me
Not
a
for you,
character
Deep
concept
Gnomes.
idea. You're giving me character concept ideas. That's really cool.
I
Mhm.
feel like I should pre-apologize to your future DM because that's going to be fun and frustrating.
There's only the now, man. Yeah.
Like you have a deep gnome that's on a night watch. The other person wakes up, was like, "Oh, what happened while I was asleep? What do you mean?"
There's nobody here. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Was it fine an hour ago? Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Yep.
It does say on here that Blingdenstone, which is now my favorite city name in all of D&D, is near the infamous Drow city, which is pronounced how, be Dave?
Menzo Baranzan.
Still messes me up.
You know,
You heard it from the man himself.
Heard it from the man himself. Bob Salvatore said to my face that it's Menzo Baranzan. And it's funny because he makes such a big deal. He's like, I don't know how the words are pronounced. Say them however you want. And then we're talking and he says Menzo Baranzan. And I'm like, and he's like, well, you can say Menzo Baranzan if you want. And I'm like, I can't now. Because in your head,
That's like when I heard Terry Brooks say Shannara, and I went, "What?
What?
it's Shannara.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Shannara.
ow.
Yeah,
Oh.
What?
yeah." That messed me up that still messes me up.
I didn't
You
watch the
spread
MTV show. Did they say Shannara in the MTV
I
show?
think they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope they did if that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Some of these things, like the GIF thing, like the dude's like, it's GIF. I'm like, it's too late. It's failed. It's GIF now. We've moved on without you. But Menzo Baranzan. Yeah. Well, because he said, I know we're not talking too much about the Drow today because we talked about them before.
Yeah.
But he based the city on the politics of the 5 families, the 5 crime families of New York. So it really was meant to be vaguely Italian sounding. That's why it's Menzo Baranzan.
Oh. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I did want to talk a little bit about the city, because I mean, we're talking about the Underdark. We'd be remiss if we didn't bring up like one of the big set pieces of the Underdark. So what is up with Menzo Baranzan?
It's super happy fun place.
You should totally visit. It's
Yeah.
not for you.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
So this is the biggest city in the cult of Lolth Drows of the Underdark. It is the seat of most of the powerful Drow families. There are multiple Drow cities in the Underdark, and those domains that we mentioned, some of them are connected and some of them are absolutely separated because there is no passage. But Menzo Baranzan is the one that that sort of controls a lot of that particular culture. This is where the famous Dritz Doerden comes from originally. Big spider aesthetic, lots of backstabbing. It's where the school of magic, that's name I'm blanking on is. But I'll think of it later. Or they it's not for you. So
All right, fair enough.
Wait, the academy. There's the Academy of Menzo Bronson, which is split into the Arak Tilineth. That's the clerics, the sorcery, or the wizards, and the melee Mektheri, the warriors.
That might be what I'm thinking.
In the Kelos World were considered the two heads. Yep.
That's a lot of.
Anyway,
props to both of you for saying those words.
It's not for you. Like this is the thing. Like Menzo Baranzan is not a. To my knowledge, it is not a city that's like Waterdeep. There's lots of people in Waterdeep. Waterdeep is very like, do what you do. Menzo Baranzan is like, hi, do what we do. And in your case, that means we're going to kill you.
Yeah, do what we tell you to do. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously, culturally insensitive, but contextually, it is a very slave-driven society. The Drow keep slaves. They catch people and they make them work for you. Yeah, and it's like of the free people, 98% are Drow. There's 1% free humans and 1% free orcs. Could you imagine the stones on a free human in Menzo Baranzan just walking around like?
I feel like you gotta be like one of the evilest dudes. Like,
yeah.
I mean, even still, like, you are not secure there.
Yeah, at all. Yeah. And then
I mean, nobody is. Let's be real for a second. Nobody really is.
Up to and including the Drow. Yeah.
Right. You're the matron mother. Hey, guess what? Your daughters are waiting.
Yep.
And they're all gonna stab each other too. So the biggest stability, it's a very like Nine Hells kind of stability where it's like, well, if everybody's trying to depose everybody, really nobody can move. So we're very stable and orderly, but not right.
I do really like that it is the matriarchal society that like it is all decisions are for the Drow women to make. But the thing that I love the most about the part of that is the Brigand Arth is that Dralaxel straight up just like, no women are allowed in this because I don't want any of these dudes to start listening to them instead of me, because that will totally happen. And I'm just like, oh, you so sensitive, aren't you? You just don't want people to listen to you.
I mean, consider some of Dralaxel's wardrobe choices, and I know what he's really been trying to tell us all this time.
It's true. It's true.
I'm on to you, Dralaxel. Yeah, sorry, zone of safety,
power.
buddy. Yeah. We're gonna go be pirates.
And like you were saying, like there are other Drow cities, which is Watsy said that they are going to be exploring more now in future content of like the other Drow societies that aren't just all like, yay, Lolth, murder.
Yeah, those are in Starlight Enclave, the new Dritz novel. And the little bit I could find out is that those are not in the Underdark. So that will be really interesting to find out more about as stuff comes out.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think they're up North Rendish, I think, but don't quote me on that.
Two that I'm going to say these wrong because I don't even think that they're pronunciation guides, and I did not call Bob and say how you say this. The Avon Drow or the Even Drow are the ones that are up north, that sort of scarp it off to the Great Glacier and built their own city that they're like, we don't need to talk to you about anything. And then the other group, I'm blanking on what the other group's name, and I bet the chat will say, but they are down, I think if it wasn't in Schuld, it was somewhere jungly because they have a city that's kind of obscured because of the thick vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just for the record, if you called and asked him how to say it, he wouldn't tell you. You have to wait for him to say it and then just know what he said. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
see, I feel like I could get him to do it though. I'll just be like, but how do you say it? I just want to hear you say it.
Right. I feel like he tell you something wrong on purpose just to watch you.
Well, then
it's
I
true.
get to say that's how Bob says he says it. So
True. He will cut off his he will have cut off
and
his
then
own nose.
that
to spite
becomes
his face.
future Aaron's problem.
That is true.
So
Yeah.
she's
Wouldn't that be?
resilient. It's fine.
It's true. I believe in her. Yeah. Yeah. Drow, one of the most iconic races. Again, lot of controversy at times about this idea of the dark-skinned elves being all evil. I myself have been neck deep in said controversy, but something that is true is that they were never all evil. Even in the Underdark, like roughly 15% of them were good aligned elves. It's the cult of Lalt is an evil cult. In as such, its adherents and the societies built up around that are evil societies, not innately the Drow themselves. Which it's funny because I was reading one of the entries that it was like, well, unlike the orcs, Drow aren't innately evil, and I'm like, excuse me, yeah, hang on,
No.
still not good, still not good.
Nope.
You're still not saying what you think you're saying.
Yep, reread that again. Give it a second pass.
Point to several canonical examples of not evil orcs. So if you want to be real pedantic about it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've
Also,
spent
it's
years.
just not true.
I've spent
bad
years
idea.
at war with the nasty orcs, but it's just, again, any intelligent race by definition should behave intelligently. If you've got free will, you can make a choice. You can be whatever you want. Even if there's a cultural leaning, an individual has got to choose for themselves. Therefore, there could be in anything. And I love, just minor tangent, but we're talking about evil stuff. Is people like, well, then you're saying there could be good liches? I'm like, yeah.
Fun fact, I have a good lich in my D&D world.
Yeah. I mean, well, besides the Baelnorn, I could see a lich who has, just over the years, he's just gone through so much like evil and debauchery and everything that almost boredom gave way to something else. That like maybe this wasn't the move, actually.
I still like I don't like quote Family Guy too often, but one of my favorite scenes that I think of with this is they're in a prison or something, and one guy's gonna like stab him, and they get away, and he's just like, and he stabs Zar, goes, ow! Oh, is that what I've been doing to people? Oh, I deserve to be here. Like, I always love that idea of a background for why bad guy became good.
It happened to them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I know we could spend multiple episodes on the Drow. Is there anything else in today's update that we need to make sure that we hit on?
So this isn't, I mean, they definitely go into the Underdark and whatnot, but they aren't synonymous with the Underdark. But in the update today, you are going to be messing with some Zentarum. And I know that we've talked about the Zentarum here and there. I don't think we've like majorly talked about them. So what do you all know about like the Zentarum and how they got their start?
They're complicated. Zentarum is a mercenary company, a mercantile organization. They're kind of organized crime. They do a lot. They do a lot of different things, and they've been around for a long time. This is where the character Manshoon comes in. Manshoon was one of the less nice chosen of Mistra. He made a bunch of clones of himself, which were kind of running the organization and being killed off by a guy whose name I will not try to say.
It's fair.
And when this organization was kind of going through one of its schisms, they've kind of gone through a couple of iterations. So where they stand exactly now, not totally sure, but I think the general gist is this is where you have people who do bad things but can be reasoned with. They feature heavily in Brimstone Angel's Lesser Evils, where they are mid in the sort of 4th edition, late 15th century stuff.
Mhm.
They're still in schism. There is a Baneite group. So Bane is the lawful evil god of tyranny. And there is a Cyricist group, which is a chaotic evil god of messing everything up, as far as I can tell. And they have different sort of goals. Like, this is like, let's just do chaos and do what we want, and like, let's actually get what we want out of the process
Mhm.
and think ahead, you dum-dums. And I think that most people in the Zhentarim are not particularly religious, or as religious as anybody on Toril, where gods can pop down and say, what's up? But they want to do crimes, make money. So you can have characters.
Excuse me. Who among us, though? Who among us does not wish that?
They yeah. So they're good for. I want bad guys who are not zealots. I want bad guys who might have goals that align with my characters temporarily.
Mhm.
I have a character. She pops up in Ashes of the Tyrant. She's one of my main character's grandmothers, and he's a harper. The harper is being very much with the Zhentarim,
Mhm.
but he is the handler for a double agent. And she shows up. She's like, "Listen, they're trying to get to this place, and they're trying to find someone. And she has the same last name as you. Do you know who Sessa Comparator is?" And he's like, "That's my grandmother, who's like 95." Yeah, no, she's a Zhentarim sword captain. So that was one of my favorite characters I ever got to write. I love her very much. They also have flying snakes.
Yes,
which I
lots
love.
of flying snakes.
Yeah, those are, instead of like carrier pigeons, they have flying snakes that carry messages to other handlers. You can call, if you know that if you are one of these contact points, you like go out and watch for them, and then you have a little whistle you play, and the little whistles are the signals for the flying snakes, so they'll come to you if they hear the whistle.
I feel like someone was like writing these guys, and they're just like, all right, how do we make these like thieves and murderers and assassins like more scary? Let's give them snakes. That's not scary enough. Snakes with wings that fly. Oh God. Oh yeah. No, that's yeah.
They're so cute.
Snakes with flying snakes with wings that will come when you call them.
Yeah.
No,
thank you.
They're so cute.
Yeah, I know they are, but also like, like the one step above that could have made me nope the heck out of there is like spiders with wings. Get out of
It
here.
is a spider with wings, but like a snake head and tail.
Why are you doing this to me, Aaron? Why are you doing this? What did I do to you this morning?
I love them. I mean, my Zents that did that, the snake kind of crawls under their collar and sort of snuggles around them. And they're cute.
I will say,
I like snakes. So.
If the Zhentarim sound interesting to you, viewers and listeners, highly recommend Waterdeep Dragon Heist for some good Zhentarim fun. There's a lot of cool stuff in there for the Zhentarim or Zhentarim. I always say stuff wrong. You know me. Yeah. The zh always messes me up. Like in Ravnica, the Orzhov. I didn't know it was Orzhov for the longest time. But
what's that? I don't know that word. I mean, I know that word in cocktail making, but
in Ravnica, one of the guilds, I thought it was Orzhov, but it's actually the Orzhov Syndicate.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, the Zhentarim, they're very cool. Their history is wild. There is a DM's Guild supplement. It's called something Darkhold, because Darkhold's like the
Darkhold Castle is their center of operations for a very long time.
Yeah,
it may be again.
It is. I believe it still is. But big group of writers, to which Anthony Joyce and Justice Arman did a bunch of amazing work on there. Talked to Ed Greenwood, got a bunch of background lore that hadn't been written in there. It's a fantastic supplement. I gotta bring this up because we have the ever awesome Mark Muir in chat right now. Hey Mark, thanks for stopping by.
Slayer of Halister Blackcloak. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you mean Alabaster Booty Clap?
I do mean that. Baloth. I heard Baloth the Entertainer kill both of those guys. Honestly, yeah. That's Yeah.
It did feel like there were 2 of them when I looked, so.
Yeah, and now there's 0.
Mark says, coming in late. Speaking of Drow, have B. Dave, Aaron, and Trevor discussed the bountiful black pits of Bailoff?
Yeah.
Because that is in the Underdark, isn't it?
Yes. It is.
The Sculpart?
No. Well, I mean,
Really?
Bailoff has had a few of them. They are in the Underdark. Well, I mean, what's not in the Underdark? Yeah.
That is for you.
Yeah,
The bountiful
it's true.
black pits.
It's true, literally for you. Yeah, it's they are fighting pits. It is the greatest entertainment you will find on this plane or any other. You know,
Mark says it is in the Underdark. There we go.
Yeah, presented by Bailoff the Entertainer, who occasionally has to grace the surface with his presence to recruit talent to go back underground to put on shows. Recently spotted as far as in Barovia looking for talent. Bailoff the Entertainer was. Yeah.
What did I hear something about? Like, what was the giant creature that he got like last year or something? And put in the pit.
Oh, he has the Tarrasque.
Yeah, okay. I was like, was it a Tarrasque?
Yep.
He has the Tarrasque that I gave him.
What have you wrought?
Which again, he always clarifies that he doesn't have a Tarrasque, he has the Tarrasque. And it was in the Theogony of Kairos live game we did for D&D Live in 2018. There was a Tarrasque that was loose, and they decided to catch it, and he dropped it in one of the black pits. So that is true. Canonically.
Mark,
the Entertainer.
Mark says, the black pits of Barovia were a blockbuster.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm glad that he turned up on the Drow episode.
I know, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you again for stopping in, Mark. Yeah, no, because the black pits are in one of the Baldur's Gate games, because that's where Mark first voiced Bailoff, I believe.
Yes.
And so yeah, you get I think it's Baldur's Gate 2. Yeah, you can go have some fun there, viewers and listeners. Maybe get thrown in the black pits. Before we pass it over to chat to see what they've been up to, any last things that you want to bring up about the Underdark? I mean, because we didn't even talk about I don't even know, the mushroom people, the fungi people.
The myconids?
That's the one.
Myconids?
Myconids.
It is a misnomer to call them fun guys. Yes.
They're actually really serious.
Personified. Okay.
Lots of weird stuff. Hook horrors are in there.
Oh, hook horrors are the worst. Yeah. Here's the thing. In general, I don't think it's any secret to anybody that it's like lighthearted comedic takes on serious things are not really my jam. You know, like I let things be what they are. However, I could very much see a comedic Underdark campaign in the style of frickin' Fraggle Rock.
It'd be so good. It would be so good.
Oh my god.
I feel like there's a really good opportunity for WotC and like the Muppet Company to get together on this.
Just
like a Muppet Driss just walking through this like Muppet styled Underdark.
I'll send some emails. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna send some emails. But yeah, we got the aboleth, which we've talked about before. You know, killer fish salamander people, psychic. But yeah, cloakers are down there. Drow, Duergar, the mind flayers, the Koatoa, which again we talked about them a lot even recently. The Quaggoth, the Zverfnabelin, all just kind of down there chilling.
Yep. It's a fun place. Go hang out there.
I mean,
not for you.
It isn't.
TTRPG.
I mean, there's plenty of people that would love to have you down there. Let's just say that.
Have is doing a lot of different things in that sentence.
So and there's
Mark here demands
also,
the Fraggle Rock campaign, by the way.
Also, it's
Driders, I forgot Driders.
Driders, yeah, the Beholders are
Trevor,
still down
your
there
favorite,
chilling.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
spider. There's people with spider.
The
There's
fr-
spider centaurs. That's
Spider
what they
centaurs.
are.
The,
Yeah, the
the
spider
freaking
centaurs.
Magic the
How
Gathering
Wolf
Drider
says, "I
card
love you and I
literally
hate you."
summons spiders, and I'm like, really? You were like,
Yeah.
you know what? You know what you need? More spiders. Let's just give you more spiders.
Yo, dog,
Well,
yo.
more spiders means less mosquitoes. So
Listen, you don't got to bring reason into this, okay?
Also, there are those things that are like basically big, giant, fleshy mosquito things.
Oh, the-
whose name-
Sturgis.
Sturgeon,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sturgis. Yep.
Lovely,
Yep.
lovely things. Sucking all the blood out of you.
Darrow. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Not for you.
Darrow. Not for TTRPG Gif earlier said that we should change the name of the episode to episode 43. It's not for you.
Valid. Valid. Again, they'd love to have you.
For dinner.
Mhm.
So let's check out what chat's been doing. And the first one is a bone to pick with you, B Dave.
I don't even know what it is. And come at me.
This is from
Is it about the dwarves? I meant it.
it was Irene UK says quote, there are no lovely dwarf people, end quote. Okay, B Dave, I know you're huge, but you and me outside now.
You know, I'll just bring extra thick shin guards. Yeah. Although I don't know if I've ever. Well, I'm sure I've mentioned it somewhere along the way. I've always been very dismissive of the small folk, just in general. I was like, why would you want to play a little character? I was little. I was 6 once. I don't need that again. And once, when my oldest daughter was maybe 2, where she was like definitely running around doing stuff, but couldn't be reasoned with.
Yeah.
And to this day, I have no idea how it happened. Comes running around the corner with a giant butcher knife. I mean, just like this, and is like, just comes running. Of course, she's happy. Yay. And I'm like, okay, so this is terrible. For a lot of reasons. And I hit her with the same knife disarm I'd use on a grown man. Just boom, hey, all right, cool, yay, all right, you go, have fun, play. And, it was fine. She didn't get cut. I didn't get cut. It's no big deal. But in that moment, I was like, okay, I get gnome rogues now. Because if a person that size had just been like, let's do it right now, it's like,
They're right on the level with your femoral artery.
yeah,
Your bone.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
my God.
Yeah. They're right on the level with a lot of things I'd rather not have sliced up. Yeah, so it's yeah, I get it. Dwarves, however, boo dwarves.
Andrew Mech says the areas of the Underdark is Upper Plane, Bright Plane, or Upper Dark, Bright Dark, Underdark, Middle Dark, Dark, and the British colony of Right Dark.
Right.
Let's see, Matt Ender, why don't they call the Central one Middle Earth? Well, they already had found out at that point.
Lawsuit.
Yeah, they'd already found out at that point. Don't use names from that property, maybe.
Oh, I specifically meant the Drow making the maps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're probably that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that we just sort of mentioned in passing is the Underdark is technically a part of Abir Toral, the dual planet. So theoretically, under the ground of Abir is also Underdark. Theoretically,
Wild.
yeah, something up there down there.
That is messing with my head.
There is an, I mean, even if that's, because that could be like, because it was always called Abir Toral, so it was the first entry. And then they were like, oh, actually, it's 2 planes, right?
Yep.
So even if they're separated, that leaves interesting what is in the Underdark and Abir, because it's going to be different.
Yep.
Kind of fun. And maybe you open the connecting door and you're like, hey, there's another room over here.
Yep. Yeah, you should
go.
go through it. Yeah, absolutely. You should go through it.
Ryan Hayden says something I hate. Got it. The Underdark is like Swiss cheese of Faerun, holes everywhere. I hate it.
That is, it's again,
Not
to
wrong.
quote Marge Simpson, just because it's right doesn't mean you should say it.
Stabagail the Kobold, again, every time I read your name, just fantastic chef kiss. Question, at what point did lore change from Drow having infravision to having dark vision in Shades of Grey?
before my time, because I've heard about this complaint and never like fully appreciated one side or the other.
It's just infravision just isn't a thing anymore. You know, it's not just they took it from them. It's just not a mechanic in the game. So, yeah.
Another thing I know they changed is that originally, like, female Drow were significantly bigger than male Drow, like in the earliest versions, and that went away fairly quickly. But that was one reason why they were in charge. Like, they were bruisers too.
See, I appreciate that, and I know B-Dave will appreciate this because that sounds like Predator to me, and I love some of the Predator lore with like the female predators are like freaking huge and jacked and just chuck predators across rooms.
Agreed. Yeah, especially because at least in several editions, Drow are small even for elves.
Yeah.
I got called out by fans when the Sundering came out, and I was surprised how short Dritz was. Because they just didn't even think about how tall he'd be. And they're like, well, he's always been short. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Reed has always been tall. I'm not yelling at you about that.
I started up EverQuest at the suggestion of one of my friends last year, and I was like, oh, I'll be a dark elf.
Last year?
Yeah. And I'm looking at everyone's stomach, and I'm like, what is this? I don't. What?
And there's when the troll comes up to you and takes up your whole entire screen.
Brian Cortillo has a great comment here. To a hook horror, everything looks like a yogurt covered raisin.
Also to a mind flayer. Yeah.
This is for certain denizens of the Underdark. All of the things in there are yogurt covered raisins. I love hook horrors because they're like vulture turtles with like praying mantis hands. And it's like somebody just went, you know what? I want it all.
They've always made me think of, this is such a deep cut. They've always made me think of this era of Beast Wars toys where they just started fusing animals together for the Transformers. Yeah.
I also love that they have their own language.
Really?
Yeah. Hook horror is a language. They can speak Undercommon too. Which also, just looking at this thing, you would think it would have no language.
I didn't know they talked.
No, they're bilingual.
Hey, check your privilege, okay?
It's gotta be. We're already starting to go like, how do you?
Hey, so do parents, man, and they work it out.
Fair. You know, that's fair.
It's to me, like every hook horror is gonna be like a gentleman hook horror now, or talk like a Skeksis and be nightmare fuel. Yeah.
Rex Verdi says door guards, so the door guards are the Underdark bouncers. Can they get
they bounce off of stuff, all right.
I like that, door guards. That's how I want to say it from now on. They're door guards.
It's not that.
I know. Catch 23, Sverf Nablin are like, why are we here to mine rubies, doofus? Try to keep up. Fair?
Love it.
Yeah. They were like, we can't track time, but we can count rocks. Stack up them rubies.
Ooh, Hero Pro has a great question. I'm just gonna say Sverfnablin because it's fun to say. Do the Sverfnablin have a deity specific from other gnome gods?
They don't. But they do prefer. So the Gnomish. I have feelings about the Gnomish Pantheon that I won't get into. But the Gnomish Pantheon are these, I think, 6 gods, the lords under the hills, and they worship specifically Kaladin Smoothhands, I believe, who is not popular with other gnomes. Kalardurin Smoothhands, the Master of Stone. That's the one that they've sort of said, no, this is the guy that's on charge. This is the guy at the peak.
All right.
He is neutral. I was just trying to remember.
No, that's fair.
The one thing I love about the gnome pantheon, to sort of veer off slightly, is that there's an evil god in the gnome pantheon who is a giant mole.
I love that.
It is one of my favorites. Erdlin, the Devourer, maybe. There are, however, no women in the gnome pantheon.
Oh.
The Crawler below. That's it.
That actually answers the next question from Catch-23. I don't think Svirfneblin really worship any gods. I think they have druids instead of clerics, but there you go. Let's
I mean, again, that's always so weird. We say it every time where you have civilizations that don't worship gods. Like, yeah, but they're around.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like it's right over there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like,
you could go see Loth. I don't recommend it, but you could.
Mean, if you don't have it, if you're like where it's only in the moment, like maybe you just forgot. Maybe you're like, nope, he's like gone now. So
you know, in extremely broad strokes, I could see a race with no concept of time having no need for gods. They have no concept of eternity. I could see that.
You're here, you're not.
But then I feel like Mistra would be, you all are the people for me though. Like she in particular is like, hearken unto my bosom, tiny younger people.
There's a little bit of this, right? Where like if the gods like they want your worship, they don't strictly need it. Like Mistra can act upon you, even if you're like, no, Mistra, I reject your existence. She can be like, oh, well, I'll reject this. Right. Yeah. So it's possible that she's just like, look at these cute little guys. Looks like my little sea monkeys under the Underdark. And she's just, she's just enjoying their delightful little
having
world
a good time.
And
I love this. Evil Emperor Zerg says, well, now my Drow are Italian.
That's my secret. They always were Italian.
Yeah. See, I actually I had the Shatterkai be Italian in my game. Ryan Hayden, I love this one. Top tourist spots is the Altar of Lolth. Many tourists find it to die for. Well played. I appreciate you. Let's see. Catch-23 says Artemis Intri, or I don't know how to say it.
I always say Intrari, but
Intrari is the only free human who has ever walked around Menzo Baranzan, and no, he did not enjoy it.
I mean, again, they say 1% of the city. I mean, he's definitely one of them. He's the only one I know of. But in my head, the like free humans in Menzo Baranzan are like legit like Polka Dot Man. Like even if you haven't seen Suicide Squad, this isn't a spoiler. You're like, that dude's weird, and I just keep him away from me. You know what I mean? Just like, like I got a robe on, it's like one twitchy eye, and the Drow are kind of like,
I kind of love the idea of like one of the humans that lives in Menzo Baranzan just being like Noel Fielding from IT Crowd, where he's just a super goth and he just walks around just like this, and they're like, why haven't you killed him? We were going to, but he's just so tiring.
Like, the matron mother thinks he's funny.
I love that.
Yep. Full Dread Pirate Roberts. Sleep well, most likely kill you tomorrow.
Exactly. Oh god, now I'm just hearing IT Crowd quotes in my head. Catch-23 corrects me and says there are ladies in the Brigand Darth, though. I did not know that because according to that might have changed because in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, it had a little blurb about that.
There are, because and I am not an expert, but I had to call upon this recently for our game when the Brigand Darth showed up. Jarlaxle was gone for a while.
Okay.
And there was a debate as how it was going to go, and then the boys club had to let in some icky girls, I guess. and he also lost his sparkling halter top, and it was just a bad time for Jarlaxle, so. Yeah,
I love the idea of the Brigand Darth boats just have like an a sign with like child's handwriting, no girls allowed.
No girls allowed. It's like the R is backwards. Yeah. Also, there's non-drow in the Brigand Darth also. Not many, but there are. Which if you think about it, that would be the move. The moment that you have, a criminal organization that are all made of blank, the first thing you would have to do is recruit a non-blank because no one would ever suspect that person. You're like, there's no girls in the Brigand Darth. I'd get like gnomes, dwarves, elves.
I'm a lady dwarf. How could I possibly be working for the Brigand Darth?
Yeah,
exactly.
Anyway,
they're like,
give me the gold.
Right. You're like, oh no, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. Yeah.
I do like this. Jay put in the text document. I mean, my party managed to semi-befriend a spitting mimic a few sessions ago. My character ended up petting it. Nothing has to be evil. It's true. It's true. Catch 20.
Again, so plenty of things. Let me clarify.
Yeah.
Plenty of things are evil. It's just if it's intelligent, it has chosen evil. And theoretically, if it is intelligent, it can be reasoned with.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just may not be interested at all in what you have to say because maybe you taste like chicken. Yeah.
Also,
Get it? I get it, but ow.
Right.
This is hookar conversation.
That is.
Look, you make a very compelling point. Counterpoint.
How? Yeah.
As part of this Catch 23 ads, I know there's a good aligned Mind Flayer in Waterdeep lore, and I'm fiddling with the idea of a chromatic dragon who is trying his best to be good. Oh yeah, I've had plenty of good chromatic dragons. Yeah,
absolutely.
I wrote one, so my stamp of approval.
Yeah, Nagarthod, the Mind Flayer pirate. Yep.
I also like evil metallic dragons a lot.
Yeah, right. I mean, well, because gold dragons have the highest propensity to be jerks. This is also why I'm on Tiamat's side and everything. Bahamut's dumb. You know? Yeah.
Mark Mir put in all caps in quotations Bailoff saying Black Pit's lore please, which I completely read in Mark's voice doing Bailoff's voice.
Rightly so.
I could do it no justice.
You know, we can't do Black Pit's lore because they just have to come and see it for themselves. You know? It's the greatest show under the earth.
Yeah, I love that.
You don't want to spoil that.
It's true. It's true.
Pay me red pandas riding unicycles, juggling sausage, just all sorts of things. And a Trask.
Stabagale the Kobold almost just killed me.
Can I just say, you want to talk about bad pronunciations? I have a buddy that pronounces Trask Tarasque, and I'm like,
nope, stop that. Don't like it. It hurts my ears.
Get out. And he's dead. He's dead serious. He's not doing it ironically. And I'm like, stop it.
Yeah, I hate it. But Stabagale the Kobold said, wait, flying snakes? Come here, Noodle.
Just like that. Just like that. And Noodle is a great name for a flying snake.
It's so
I would like to go on record.
It's so good.
Danger Noodles and Nope Ropes.
Pony Express Riders.
I'd name mine Noose if it was a flying rope.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I think that is a good place to stop for today. Friends, where can people find you and what awesome things are you working on?
You can find me on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. You can listen to me talk about writing with these guys on our podcast, Writing About Dragons and Shit, available on where all fine podcasts are available. I listen on Spotify. You can catch me at 6:30 p.m. on twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers every Wednesday. That means tonight, where I play Cecilia, who is definitely not a warlock,
Absolutely not.
and a Forgotten Realms game with a bunch of other fantasy writers. Tonight we are gonna go try to kidnap Cecilia's evil father so we can make him do some stuff for us. Cast some high level spells. I don't know if this plan's gonna work, but I'm very excited to see how it goes wrong.
Yeah, because those high level spells might just get cast on you, you know? So he's
we have
like,
something he wants. He's dying of a poison and we have the antidote. Maybe we're real desperate right now.
Dominate person is a thing where you're like, cast this spell and give us what we want, or just give it to me. Oh, okay.
He tried that. I have a crazy will save now.
She does. I tried. I made a roll against it, and it did not go well for me.
I've trained for this.
That's
very good.
but not as a warlock. Yes.
Yeah.
B. Dave Walters. Once again, I do that thing you just saw me doing. That's what I do all over the interwebs. Up to and including Thursday nights on D&D, Twitch, and YouTube at 4 for the Black Dice Society with the world's hunkiest podcast editor. Follow me on the tweetagrams at B. Dave Walters. I am the shadow to Aaron's Peter Pan.
You can find me on the Difficulty Class podcast every Friday, as well as Champions of Psychology every Tuesday, 11 a.m. here on twitch.tv/CNE Games. And you can follow me on Twitter at the Treavor. There is an A hiding in there. Thank you, Jay, for moderating in the chat as always and doing a fantastic job. And thank you to Codename Entertainment for giving us a chance to have some fun D&D talk. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it later today at 2 p.m. as a podcast on your favorite podcast services. If you're here with us live right now, be sure to come back at what is it? Okay, so we got Mars Guiding Hand at 1, and then we've got the Sketching Hour with special guest host Margaret at 3 o'clock today.
There's a Wild Lauren is down here with me. I saw her.
Ha
Yeah.
Yeah, as a heads up, next week there will be no show, so we will be back 2 weeks from now with a new episode. So until 2 weeks from now, Champions out.